Let's welcome back Scott McAndrews, the president of the Greater Hazleton Area Astronomical Society, and more segments about the night sky. When you were here the first time, you said you really enjoy looking at the solar system, kind of our backyard and maybe our closest neighbor, the moon. So let's start there and talk about some features of it. And I wanted to ask, is that a good place to start if you're a beginner, to look up and maybe get familiar with your telescope and the night sky? Start with the moon.
That is the easiest target, really it is, other than the sun, but you don't want to look at the sun with a telescope, not at all. The best way to start observing the moon is when it's just starting to come out of its crescent. It starts from new and then it goes into its crescent and then half and then to the full moon. You really don't want to look at a full moon, but as you look at the moon, try to check it out along the edge and you'll see the delineation from the darkness to the light, and you'll see shadows from the craters and things like that. And be amazed at what you can actually see just in little parts of the moon.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I started out, I wanted to look at the Apollo landing sites, and you said, listen, you're not going to see the American flag waving up. Well, they wouldn't be waving, but you won't see the American flag up there. But it kind of got me familiar with some of the features of the moon, and I just Googled, Apollo landing sites, and you can actually, I guess, you'll see where they did land.
You'll see where they are, right? You'll see where they are, and of course the craters, like Tycho is the one that really sticks out at the bottom of the moon, which is actually at the top of the moon when you're looking at it through the scopes. Everything's upside down. But, and the Sea of Tranquility, and like you were saying, where they landed to the Apollos. But again, when you try to look at the moon, it's nice to look out every day when you go out and see how everything changes. It's just amazing the difference, what you can see when you check out the moon. And it's an easy target. It's a real easy target.
I said sometimes I guess the moon could be an astronomer's enemy because you go out, you want to see some deep sky objects, and the moon's out there, and that it gets so bright you're not going to see it. But I guess there's a balance between appreciating it and wanting the dark sky. And
Correct. And the neat thing is too that it helps us do a lot of other things like see a solar eclipse.
Yeah.
And the reason why we see a solar eclipse is because the distance of the moon has changed. On average, it's about 225,000 to 250 or so thousand miles away. So that fluctuation will either give you a closer moon, which gives you the total eclipse, or it gives you the annular eclipse, which just covers just a little bit, leaves a little bit of the rim of the sun in the moon. So it's pretty good. That once that moon is closest to us, that's when we get totality.
Well, I do hear, and it's been interesting recently, the past few full moons, people have said to me, they said, wow, the moon looks really close. And I guess that's what it is. It's lining up, right? It's getting
there. It's getting there, yep.
I wanted to mention, I took this photo, and honestly, it got to the point where I was I don't want to say I was over the moon, but I was a little cocky. I was like, I know the moon like the back of my hand. Now, I've been doing this for 6 months. I could be a scientist on this. And I got this shot. I was just testing out my new telescope camera, and I noticed the mountain range for really the first time. And it had Mons Hadley, or Mount Hadley, and I just so happened to Google that too, and I saw this amazing shot from NASA in the background. It's almost where they landed Apollo 15. So the mountains are just incredible to check out.
It is. It's really cool what you can see with the telescope. Even something that you can check it out with the binoculars, and if you can hold it steady enough, you'll be able to see some good stuff. So it's amazing what you see in the moon.
We have to end this segment right now, but Scott, we'll be back to talk more about the night sky.